In today's Psukim, Esther appears before Achashverosh, we would think, to plead for Klal Yisrael. Instead, Esther invites him to the feast, and even when coming to the feast, and Achashverosh asks, what is it that you want? Esther says, come to another feast tomorrow. And probably, I guess, the elephant in the room is the question of what exactly is Esther's strategy. Why is it that she won't ask Achashverosh up front? Again, if we go back to yesterday's Psukim, it sounds like the plan is that Esther is going to come into Achashverosh in order to beg from him to be able to save the Jewish people. And it's interesting, the Gemara goes through a protracted analysis of this and actually goes through 11 different understandings of what Esther's strategy is in doing this. I'd like to bring your attention, though, this morning to an idea that the Ibn Ezra suggests. The Ibn Ezra writes that basically Esther was waiting for some kind of divine sign of favor, that the tshuva and the fasting of the Jewish people in Shushan had indeed been received. And until she had that sign, she felt that the time was not ripe to go into beg Achashverosh. And in fact, what happens is that it's only after the decisive events where Mordechai is suddenly recognized for his role of saving Achashverosh and paraded through the streets of Shushan, it's at that point where Esther sees that something climactic has shifted, that there is a sign of divine favor, and therefore, based on that, Esther is ready to move forward. It's interesting to know that the Gemara identifies Esther as one of the Sheva Nevios, one of the 7 prophetesses in Tanakh, and identifies that actually based on the beginning of today's Psukim, where it says, V'tilbash Esther Malchus, literally, and Esther put on royalty. It doesn't say that Esther put on royal clothing, it says that she put on royalty. And the Gemara interprets that as an episode where she clothes herself in Ruach HaKodesh, in the holy prophetic spirit. However, it doesn't really communicate to us what the content of that prophetic experience was. And perhaps the idea here is that Esther feels herself guided by something greater than her, that she feels the spirit of Nevuah pulling her and perhaps even speaking through her when she comes to Achashverosh. Perhaps she doesn't even necessarily have a complete strategy as to what she needs to do to save the Jews. All she knows is that she has this compulsion to move forward, to invite Achashverosh, waiting for the proper time, for the final sign that will indicate to her that this really is the moment where Hashem is going to be with her to allow her to fulfill her mission to save the Jewish